You conquer half the known world, build one of the largest empires in history, and then boom, it all crumbles the moment you're gone. That's exactly what happened when Alexander the Great died in 323 BCE. He had plans for his trusted friend, Ptolemy, to take the reins. But those plans went up in smoke. With no clear successor, the empire spiraled into chaos. 3 centuries of brutal power struggles, endless wars, and the rise of some truly ruthless leaders. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're diving into the dramatic collapse of the Macedonian Empire, and trust us, it's a wild ride. 1. A short but sweet reign. The Macedonian Empire was founded in northern Greece around 800 BCE and rose to prominence thanks to King Philip II of Macedon, who modernized the army and brought order to the Greek world. Upon his assassination in 336 BCE, his son, the infamous Alexander the Great, took the throne. As most of you probably know, Alexander would go on to conquer the Persian Empire, reaching all the way from Greece to Egypt and deep into Central Asia. After Alexander's untimely death in 323 BCE, the empire was left in the hands of his close friend and general Ptolemy. The first, however, there was a bit of a problem. Alexander had left no clear heir to the throne. His son, Alexander IV, was born after his death, and his half-brother Philip III, Aridius, was mentally unfit to rule. That's why the real power fell into the hands of Pydna. He didn't waste time establishing himself as the new ruler of Egypt, effectively starting the race for supremacy among Alexander's former generals and friends, known as the Wars of the Diadochi, which literally just means the Wars of the Successors. 2. The death of a king. Alexander died in Babylon at the age of 32, possibly due to fever, poisoning, or other illness. He left no clear heir. This uncertainty triggered a power vacuum. After Alexander's death, his generals met up in a crucial meeting in Babylon to divide up his empire. They agreed that Alexander's infant son, Alexander IV, would be the nominal head of the empire, but that his uncle Philip III would actually rule in his place until he came of age. Meanwhile, Perdita got Egypt, while Seleucus got Babylonia and Media. Eventually, the empire broke up into the following 3 kingdoms: Ptolemaic Egypt, the Seleucid Empire, and Antigonid. 3. Fragmentation. After Perdita's death in 283 BC, his successors ruled over Egypt for the next 3 centuries. Seleucus's successors would also rule over their vast empire for the next 2 centuries. But the Antigonids' hold on their part of the empire was much less secure. After Antigonid was assassinated in 239 BCE, his son Demetrius I took over the throne. Not only did Demetrius have to deal with internal rebellions, he also had to contend with external threats from the growing power of Rome, though the latter wouldn't become a huge problem until later. In 222 BC, Demetrius managed to defeat a coalition of Greek states led by the Achaean League, but this victory was short-lived. His successors would struggle to keep Macedon and Greece under their control as well. Demetrius's brother, Antigonus II Gonatus, managed to put down an uprising in Illyria and defeat the Gauls who had invaded the northern part of Greece. But southern Greece was lost to the Aetolian and Achaean leagues. Even Athens, which had been a staunch ally of Macedon since the Persian Wars, broke away from Antigonus II's rule. It wasn't until his grandson, Philip V, came along that Macedon started getting stronger again. 4. Rise of Rome. By the 3rd century BCE, Rome had grown to become a major power in the western Mediterranean, after winning the Punic Wars against Carthage. During the First Macedonian War between 214 and 205 BCE, Philip V of Macedon allied himself with Hannibal Barca of Carthage. This alliance threatened Roman interests in Greece, and so Rome went to war against him. The war was indecisive, but it marked the start of Rome's growing involvement in Greek affairs. In 200 BCE, Philip V started expanding north and south, threatening Roman allies and attempting to bring the entire Greek peninsula under Macedonian control. This prompted Rome to declare war on Macedon, kicking off the Second Macedonian War. On one side was Philip V of Macedon, who was aided by Cletus the Black, a general of Alexander the Great's old army. On the other side was the Roman general Titus Quintus. At the Battle of Cynoscephalae in 197 BCE, Cletus was killed and Titus defeated Philip. The following peace treaty forced Philip to give up most of its Greek possessions and pay a massive sum of money to Rome. Despite this humiliating defeat, Macedon was still nominally an independent state, which caused Rome a big headache. 5. More rebellions in Greece. In the wake of Rome's victory over Philip V, Greece descended into yet another period of turmoil. Thebes and Megalopolis gained independence and Rome had to intervene to stop the ensuing chaos. Instead of restoring order, Rome decided to annex all of the former Macedonian territories in Greece, creating the Roman province of Macedonia. The rest of the Greek peninsula was reorganized into the League of Corinth, a group of allied states dominated by Rome. 6. Downfall. After Philip V's death in 179 BCE, his son Perseus became the king of Macedonia. Perseus proved to be a competent ruler and spent the next 13 years of his life slowly increasing his power and prestige. But Rome wasn't too happy about this, seeing him as a potential threat. Tensions escalated when Perseus married a daughter of King Euboea of Ptolemy's, angering Rome, who considered Cleopatra's family a rival. Rome further accused Perseus of starting a secret war with the kingdom of Persia. But in reality, Perseus was merely helping a local ruler who was in conflict with the king of Persia. When Perseus offered the hand of his daughter Cleopatra in marriage to King Attalus III of Pergamon in order to form an alliance, Attalus refused and instead chose to leave his inheritance to Rome. This enraged Perseus, who then went to war against Attalus, causing Rome to declare war on Macedon in 171 BCE. This marked the start of the Third Macedonian War. Perseus formed alliances with various Greek states and anti-Roman factions, including Sparta, but his efforts were in vain as Rome easily defeated the Macedonian army at the Battle of Pydna in 168 BCE. The following peace treaty dissolved the Macedonian kingdom. The territory was divided into 4 client republics and each of them was forbidden from marrying each other as citizens or cooperating economically. This was done specifically to prevent them from unifying again. 7. Last-ditch effort. After the annexation of his kingdom, a man named Andriscus, who was a descendant of Philip V, began calling himself the true king of Macedon and gathered supporters to his cause. In 150 BCE, he launched a revolt against Rome, which quickly gained momentum. Andriscus restored the monarchy and even minted coins with his name on them. However, this didn't last long. Roman general Lucius Aemilius Paulus utterly defeated his army at the Battle of Pydna once again. Andriscus fled to Thrace, where he was captured and crucified. The following year, Macedon became a fully fledged Roman province. 8. Reasons for the fall. There are a number of reasons for the fall of the Macedonian Empire. First, there was a lack of strong leadership after Alexander the Great's death. His empire was divided among his friends and generals, who were more interested in carving out their own piece of the pie than in keeping the whole thing together. Second, the empire was just too big to effectively control. The vast distance between Macedon and its farthest reaches made it impossible for any one ruler to keep everything under control. As a result, local governors effectively became kings in their own right and answerable only to themselves. Third, the continuous wars of the Diadochi drained Macedonia of manpower and wealth. While the empire was able to rebuild its power base after the wars of the Diadochi, it never truly recovered from the constant fighting. And finally, Rome exploited the weakness of Greece and Macedon to take over the region. The Romans cunningly interfered in Greek politics, and the series of wars that ensued methodically dismantled Macedonian power and brought Greece under Roman domination. 9. Conclusion. The fall of the Macedonian Empire was not a sudden collapse, but rather a gradual erosion of power. From the moment of Alexander's death, the seeds of division were sown. Infighting, ineffective leadership, and foreign interference, especially by Rome, sealed its fate. By 146 BCE, Macedon had transformed from a dominant empire to a Roman province. Its legacy was preserved more in culture than in sovereignty. Thank you, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes.